This card represents how a normal Reserve Bank operates. They put the interest rates up and down, trying to keep a 2% inflation rate. You can see that normal central banks or reserve banks try and not go to extremes because they are competent. So now let's have a look at how the RBNZ operates. They are so incompetent that they keep swinging wildly from one extreme to the other. It's almost like they don't know what they're doing, isn't it? Just yesterday, they dropped another 50 basis points to 2.5%, which is a strange decision when inflation is running at 2.7% and it looks to be going up, which is far above the desired range of 2%. For comparison, the UK base rate is at 4% and Australia is at 3.6%, and they look unlikely to cut much further, if at all, anytime soon. Unfortunately, having such a low base rate destroys a country's currency because investors will sell the currency with the low interest rate and buy currencies with higher interest rates, meaning that nobody wants poor old New Zealand dollars anymore, so the currency drops. Now, the weak New Zealand dollar is good for exports, which will make the rich exporters richer, but it's very bad for imports, which get much more expensive. You know, little things like petrol and diesel, electronics, vehicles and machinery, etc. And higher fuel prices are no joke. They are brutal for everyone who needs to use a car to get to work, and once again, it is unfortunately the poorest people who often have to live much further away from the main business centres because of high housing costs, which means that they'll often have to commute much further, which punishes them even more with high fuel costs. High fuel prices also means that the price of food goes up, because the cost to distribute that food around the country in trucks goes up. Also, the cost to produce a lot of that food goes up because the fuel prices have gone up. So once again, the poorest bear the brunt of these higher prices. Obviously, the RBNZ is not interested in the poorest people. We've been proving that over and over and over again. That's why they have just jumped in with both feet once again to save the housing PONZI, which, as we all know, protects the richest. The RBNZ works for rich asset holders and nobody else. That was proven during COVID when the RBNZ not only slashed interest rates to near zero, but also removed loan-to-value restrictions or LVRs, which they didn't have to do. That is the exact point where the mask of the RBNZ slipped, and it slipped permanently. We now all know why the RBNZ exists, and they can't deny it anymore. So the RBNZ governor is not elected. They get paid over $800,000 per year, which is more than the President of the USA gets. They can do absolutely everything wrong, and they will still get an enormous pension plus bonuses, as we have just seen with this last governor. So then you have to ask yourself, did the last governor do everything wrong, or did he in fact do everything that he was supposed to do? Before COVID, he held rates and even dropped rates for many, many years, which artificially pumped the PONZI. Then during COVID, he went nuts and made asset holders rich beyond their wildest dreams. And think about it. The richest people in New Zealand own most of the assets. These are the people who are enriched when interest rates are slashed, like they have just been 0.5% once again. Lower interest rates gives more people the ability to borrow, which, as we all know, in New Zealand translates into so-called Ma and Pa investors buying rental properties. This means more demand for the rich asset owners' properties, meaning prices go up and the rich just get richer and richer and richer. Like always, these Ma and Pa wannabe landlords get overexcited. They take on too much debt than they should have, and they end up wanting to pass the high mortgage costs down to their tenants in the form of overinflated rents. So once again, the poorest in society suffer the most because of the RBNZ's actions. The rich get richer and the poor get burdened with the cost of making the rich richer. The ironic thing right now is that there is a lot of empty rentals and rents are actually coming down slightly. I know it's from a high level, but they're coming down very slightly. So what will happen next? Will Luxon let rents keep dropping and take some of the pressure off the poorest? Or will he open the borders even further than he already has and start filling up rentals, which will push up rents again? I suspect he will do this and open the borders further. There is no way that he will let ma and pa investors take the hit. After all, they were just doing what he and the RBNZ wanted them to do, which is enrich the rich. It's clear as day that the government and the RBNZ believe it's the poorest people's responsibility to shoulder the consequences of the rich people's mistakes. And before I go, let's just have a look at the statement that the RBNZ put out with regard to their reasoning behind making the oversized 0.5% cut. Slow growth in disposable incomes and house prices continue to weigh on economic activity, but lower interest rates are supporting a recovery in consumption. Yay! Let's consume more houses. Let's get house prices up. Construction activity is projected to recover from mid-2026 as demand for dwellings recovers and house price growth resumes. Yay! Let's get the PONZI going. And just in case you have any misunderstanding of why the government is letting in so many people during an unemployment crisis, the committee discussed the risk that potential output growth could slow by more than currently expected. Growth in potential output is being constrained by subdued investment, low productivity, and low population growth through net immigration. So it's back to basics for New Zealand. Cut interest rates to oblivion to inflate the PONZI and open the borders fully to get as many people in as possible to inflate the PONZI further. Anyone who is not already a rich asset owner, it's hard luck, I'm afraid. You are not on the side who the RBNZ is out to protect. So I ask you, what is the point in having a so-called independent RBNZ if it works against the interests of a major percentage of New Zealanders who were always the poorest in society? It's a sad but proven fact that even if they vote for change, they won't see it because the RBNZ will work against their interests anyhow. The RBNZ is not fit for purpose, and it's time that something else took its place. Something that doesn't just look after the richest in society. So yes guys, they are at it again. It's Groundhog Day, it's pump up that PONZI time. So let's see how it goes this time. And thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one. Cheers for that.